Well, let's talk about this show because you can listen to my interview with the drummer Matt Helbers, Helders on BBC Sounds now. Open your app. Scroll to the local to me section. But the gigs at Hillsborough Park, nearly 20 years to the day since their first gig at The Grapes, which is a pub in Sheffield. You know, it can't have been long after this that The Grapes said they were stopping doing gigs. Last thing I went to see there was Kid Acne. Well, on the line now is Carl Maloney. Carl remembers that gig very well. If you ask about anybody in Sheffield, about 80,000 people were in that room that night because they all remember it. Carl Maloney certainly does, though. Good morning, Carl.
Hi, mate. How you doing? You all right, Toby?
I'm good, thank you. In pretty much the same way as everybody over 60 will tell you that Joe Cocker changed their gas fire. Everybody over 30 reckons they were at that gig 20 years ago, don't they?
I know. You kind of lie to yourself, don't you? As you get older, you kind of remember things different ways, don't you? But there was probably about 40 people, I think, from memory. And I might have made that up a little bit. There might be a bit less than that, you know.
Because you were in a band at the time, weren't you, Carl?
Yeah, I was in a band called The Sound. And friends of friends, our drummer used to be, I had a brother. His brother was in a band called The Wanted. In The Wanted was a guy called Rob Nicholson, an amazing photographer in Sheffield right now, Pedalo. And his brother was Andy from the Arctic Monkeys. So it was all like friends from a friends. We had this gig.
Andy Nicholson was the first bass player, wasn't he?
Yeah. So it was Andy's brother, just, great lads. And so we basically just had this gig on a Tuesday night. I can't remember what kind of night it was, just down at the Grapes, just doing what bands do, playing Sheffield too much, really. And just on that one particular night, there was a band called the Arctic Monkeys that supported us, which was nice. And I've dined on this story all my life, Toby, and I don't mind being honest about that.
But absolutely. So, you got there. You've got Arctic Monkeys as support. Nobody had heard of them. What was it like? I mean, obviously, you're the main band. You set up first. You're ready. You're sound checked. And then they pop up. What happens?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. And I still don't see it to today. I put a lot of bands on with RGM, the magazine that I do. And speak to loads of bands on the podcast that I do as well. And I still don't see what I saw on that night. Basically, when we done our sound check, they wanted us all out so they could get their sound right for their sound check. So basically, they made a point of getting everybody out of the room, which I still don't see to today. I still don't see that professionalism and foresight to want to get the sound right, even on the first ever gig. That's the main standout thing for me that I remember from the gig, really. And we owe the band 27 quid, I think, from the door.
Did you not pay them?
I blame Scott, our bass player, for forgetting to pay them. So Alex, I'm coming to a gig on Saturday. I'll bring you 27 quid, mate.
Were they any good?
I can't remember any strikes of lightning or anything like that, to be honest with you. It was just another gig, and it just happened to be on the same night as what we played, and history was made type thing by them. So I can't really remember being too overly impressed by them. I just mainly remember the sound check and them trying to get us out, because everybody were like, "Oh, this is different. I haven't seen this before."
Well, in a weird way, I'm the opposite of every Sheffielder, right? Because I might have been there. I've no idea. I just used to go to the Grapes quite a lot.
I'd have remembered if you were there.
Well, no, because I mean, not really. I don't know. Yes, but well, I can't remember. I used to go there a load, so I'm guessing I wasn't. Because it was shortly after they stopped having gigs up there, didn't they?
Proper shame.
Yeah,
we've seen it historically in Sheffield where venues go and they leave big, massive holes in the community. And the Grapes was an amazing place just to even go and have a drink downstairs, and just if there's something on upstairs, you just pop up and see what's on and just discover a great way to discover new music as well. That old place, and it just had a nice like old Irish pub environment. It was always too hot down there. I always remember that. And that was always nice. Yeah, but it's left a massive hole in the Sheffield community. I know there's new venues popping up now and that kind of stuff, which is great. But, the Grapes, I did like that place. It was a great place for new bands to cut the teeth, really.
We ran a couple of very small, it was only 40 or 50 people, wasn't it? Ran a couple of small comedy nights in there, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I do remember being in there one night with Kid Acne, watching him playing, which was brilliant at the time. But it's such a shame that shut down. What happened to your band? What happened to the Wanted? Wanted?
We were called The Sound. The Wanted were like
The
friends
Sound.
of the friends before. Yeah, they all got kind of boring and, started having kids and couldn't commit to it anymore, Toby.
So have you not carried on?
Yo, I carried on showing off. I did stand up for a year after that, and then created a music magazine called RGM Magazine, where I support new music and give back to the community these days, and do podcasts and all that exciting stuff, and talk to people. So I couldn't stop. Once music grabs you, you just carry on with it. You can't leave you. Sometimes I'm one of them, mate.
Well, it's one of those things that you got to just. You try and get away from the fact that you're getting older, don't you? I'm speaking as somebody who was at rehearsal last night with a load of other blokes in the mid-50s.
Oh, right, okay. Well, when you're a certain type of personality, I tried the old stand-up, circuit for a year, Toby. I don't know, all about all that. I was absolute rubbish at it, but I got a bit of a name for myself.
Well, hang on a minute. Do I remember you, Carl? I were Cool Beans videos.
I was in the Cool Beans videos. Yeah, I played a copper.
Yeah, I remember them now. Yeah,
they were good fun.
Sorry, I'd not made the connection.
It's all right, mate. And from doing stand up gigs, I got a bit of a name for myself. I don't know, good or bad, whatever. But then I got asked to host music gigs and got back into music again and became a music compare.
Yeah.
After that, I started doing my own gigs at Frog and Parrot. Nick got me involved, putting bands on. Started putting bands on, interviewed bands in the pub, needed a website to put the bands on. And that organically became RGM Magazine, which is flying at the minute. And I couldn't be more proud of what I've done with that, to be honest. It's great.
I'd not made the connection at all, Carl. Well, that's fantastic that you've got this story, this amazing story of one of the most iconic venues in Sheffield, and B, arguably the biggest band to come from Sheffield. I suppose Nick Bank from Pulp will have a word with me about that. Yeah. But certainly one of the biggest bands ever to come from Sheffield. What a fantastic set of stories you got, Carl. Thanks for talking to us this morning.
Nice one, Toby. Have a good one, Paul.
You take care, mate. Carl Maloney there, ladies and gentlemen, Carl Maloney, whose band was supported by the Artie Monkeys at the Artie Monkeys' first ever gig.